Yo, 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 ladies and gentlemen, it is your boy, the franchise player, Double B Babla, and today I have a very special guest. This isn't like the live podcast we do every week. This is a special interview. I want to interview one of the hottest independent referees out there right now. Today, ladies and gentlemen, the one, the only. I'm just gonna tell him your name. Tell him about you. I'm gonna let you do this today.
Well, this is your Latina referee, Layne Rosario. Hi.
You know, I try to get it a little spicy for you, like the Latina referee here. There you go. See, that's what I'm talking about. You gotta hype it
All
up
the
for yourself.
spice.
Let these people know what's up. So, I mean, what have you been up to? Let's talk about what have you been up to these days.
Training hard, trying to get those reps in, trying to get work wherever I can and travel. That's what I've been up to lately. And it's been fun. It's been a very different experience because of the last 2 years where nobody's really been able to do
Yeah,
much. It's been so nice to be able to get on a plane and go to new places and experience life. So that's basically what I've been doing lately.
over the course of the last like 2.5 years, I was fortunate enough to be able to continue working, doing tape shows for later broadcasts, things like that, and studio shows. And I gotta tell you, getting on a plane was the scariest shit ever. You
Oh yeah.
know, it was like, oh man, you're sitting next to me. Can you scoot over like two seats? So I totally get that. Um, when we talked on Facebook, we talked about you coming on the show, and I mentioned that I want to talk about the Divas era. If you watch the podcast, I'm one of those people that are very adamant about women wrestlers not just being women wrestlers. Like you're obviously you're a female, but in this industry, you're one of the boys, so to speak.
Yep.
We always say one of the boys. She's one of the boys, one of the guys, one of the dudes. She's like one of the bros. Um, but the way women are being treated in the industry is really shitty, in my opinion. So I'm one of those guys that I like to like fucking lay the smackdown on it, and talk about how I think independent wrestling and women's wrestling in general needs to be on par with men wrestling. Like we're all workers, we're all wrestlers. But before we get into that, because I know we talked about we want to get into that. Um, let's talk about like where we met. A couple years ago, WrestleMania weekend, Florida.
Yep.
Some of the craziest things happened that weekend. We're talking wrestling like 10, 15 matches in like 3 days. I know you probably refereed a whole shit. You probably wrestled a shitload of matches that week too.
Yeah, there was a few of them, to say the least. But it was
Exactly.
fun having it in my own area. It was like, okay, so at the end of this, wait a minute. You mean I get to go home? You
You
mean
mean
I
I
get
get
to
to
go to my
drive
own
home?
bed? Wait
Oh
a minute,
man,
what's this?
that's impossible sometimes in this industry. I think I've wrestled so much to where like I don't think I've been shit. This is the longest I've ever been home, and I've been home for like 4 weeks. That's because I've got an injured knee. So it's weird being home, able to like, be here on a Friday evening with my daughter, go to the movies, things like that. Like, oh shit, I get to do those things. It's weird.
I get to live life. Wait a minute,
What's
I get
that?
to be around my pets. I get to be
Oh
around
my
my
god.
partner. Wait a minute, hold on.
That's impossible. We know that doesn't happen in real life. So we talked about certain things, and everyone knows when I do a podcast, when I do an interview, it's just two people shooting the shit. That's the way I like to do it. Um, but I wanted to talk to you about Lufisto. You
I could
know,
talk about that woman for hours. Hours.
Lufisto is one of the most amazing professional wrestlers I've ever had the opportunity to be around. Man or woman, and she's tough. Tell me about your experience with her.
So it was at Rise. It was in Berwyn, Illinois. It was a few years ago, and when I was told, "Hey, you're going to wrestle Lufisto," I legitimately, and I'm probably breaking all the rules here. I cried. I cried because she was a woman that, and still is a woman that I look up to very much so, just because she did what the guys did. She owned her space in the wrestling world and didn't let anybody take that away from her or tell her to be anything different than who she is.
She just
To
got
me, she's
inducted into the
one of
Women's Hall
the
of Fame.
most underrated women, not even just women, underrated wrestlers in independent wrestling and in the world to me. The fact that she hasn't been scooped up by a major wrestling company blows my mind every
You're
day
damn shame.
because she's just so talented, such a great human being. And even from the minimal experience of just being in the ring with her for our match, I learned so much from her and took confidence away from the match because it was in there with her.
Now, you've been around the industry for 12, 13 years. You've
Mm-hmm.
been in and out of the ring as a worker, as a referee. What do you find most satisfying right now?
Right now, it's the current space that I'm in. It's being a referee for me. Um, I've done basically every role that you can do in professional wrestling, and I made it that way so that I would know every facet of pro wrestling. I've done backstage interviewing, I've done commentary, I've been a commissioner, a manager, wrestler for the majority of my career, and now a referee. And I feel like when I say this, and it's going to sound cliche, but it's my thing. I'm a nerd. When I
Nothing wrong with
found
that.
the stripes of being a referee, it's like I found my place finally in the professional wrestling world. Like I found my home where I was meant to be, what my role should have been this entire time.
You know, it's cool that you found that role because, quite honestly, like in this industry, you truly have to learn everything about it. I remember I started to set up rings. Um,
Mm-hmm.
then I was doing commentary. I was holding a friggin' camera. I was doing security. I was just like I had to learn every aspect of this industry. That way, when I can sit back here 30 years later and say, I've literally seen everything under the sun. Because guess what? I've pretty much done everything under the sun.
Mm-hmm.
Now I'm doing a podcast about it, and I'm talking to people in the industry, people that I can relate to, that understand the industry. I wanted to bring you on here because as a female in this industry, I wanted to get your opinion on the current state of professional wrestling's women's division. Give me the pros and the cons of what you see. Not just what you see on the WWE and AEW, Ring of Honor, and Impact Wrestling. Not that shit. What you physically see being a woman in the independent wrestling world. What do you see that can be a stepping stone or a deterrent?
I'll go with the negatives first and then we'll swing into some positives.
Mhm.
So, a lot of it for me is self inflicted in the female wrestling industry, where we should be more of a sisterhood. There shouldn't be this jealousy or gossiping about each other and things like that. Like those things to me hurt my soul. This is a sisterhood, brotherhood, so to speak. Like we're all in this together and we should act like that and take better care of each other. Um, I'm seeing a lot of that changing, which is nice, a lot more. And I love, love, love. Now I'm going to go move into my positive soapbox here. I love the direction of where things are headed back to. We had the Divas Revolution and give women a chance. We had that. And then it hit a little bit of a lull. Now I feel like that's coming back and stronger than ever with companies like Mission Pro Wrestling in Texas. I
Mhm.
feel like Thunder Rosa has cultivated a atmosphere
She's
where
a friend of the channel, so she'll love this. She'll watch this interview and she'll love it.
it's cultivated an environment where women can grow. It's not only seasoned women, but brand new people you haven't seen before. And it's all female based, down to the commentators, us referees, women in the ring, even the people that are working the cameras are female, the women doing the logistics behind the scenes. And it's just, to me, that's been probably the greatest change that I've seen since honestly Shimmer. When Shimmer was the one that pioneered that, and Dave did an
Exactly.
amazing job over the years that he ran Shimmer. And it's nice to see that resurgence now with Mission Pro. It felt like there was that gap that was starting to form from one to the other. And it's nice to see that. And now we see women's wrestling army coming down the pipeline and what other companies are beginning to do with that. And it's amazing to me.
Like, I like the fact that you're so enthusiastic about this, about the women's wrestling revolution here in 2022. Thunder Rosa, I love her to death. I've known her for a very long time, and Mission Pro Wrestling is, like, in my opinion, the premier promotion for women's wrestling. I mean, it's the only promotion you can legit say is ran by women for women for the sisterhood, so to speak, in professional wrestling. I don't hear any gossip, any rumors, any BS or any bullshit coming out of that company, because I know Thunder Rosa runs it like we're gonna do this the right way, and I love that. I love that. Like, I praise her all the time on this channel constantly, and one thing about this podcast, everyone that watches, they know we don't bullshit. If we like something, we like it. If we don't, we will shit all over it. We're very honest about what we do here, and the fact that you're part of that. I mean, that right there should give you like a whole sense of like you're making history, so to speak. What do you think about that?
It's Mission Pro will always have a space and a love in my heart, because July of last year they did the Jacksonville Taco Fest. They gave me an opportunity to one Iron Woman referee that show outside
Oh my God, yeah.
all day, but they also gave me a chance. And for an out of state promotion that is running a show in Jacksonville, to give a local referee a chance, it's helped me a lot. And going back and forth to Texas to work with them, and just to be a part of that environment for me. If I could move to Texas tomorrow just to work there, I wouldn't. I'm kidding.
He'd be like, I'm out by.
I genuinely just love the space of being there, because there's no egos, there's no drama, there's no gossip. And to me, we stand together to make a better product. That's why so many people, in my eyes, are so engaged in that company, because of what it stands for. You can tell the love of the performers, the referees, everybody for that company. We ride hard for that company, and it shows, and everybody puts their heart and soul into it. And that's what I think some companies are maybe missing with that, in as far as professional wrestling with women.
That, and that's a great, that right there is a very, very, very valid point. You look at companies like WWE, even AEW. I love AEW to death. Okay. But the women's division there is growing. It's getting better. Now the resurgence of the Ring of Honor Women's Championship, and Ring of Honor being now in my opinion, a developmental deal with, AEW is bloated with talent anyway. So now they're taking this talent and they're moving around. But people like Maria Kanellis, who helped pioneer the women's division for Ring of Honor, bring her in AEW, let her do that. Bring in more AEW referees as women referees. Aubrey Edwards. We exactly. Hey, you see what I'm doing here? I'm serving up a softball for you to knock it out of the park. You got wrestlers, you got referees like Aja Pereira, who's in the WWE right now. Like that right there, that warmed my heart, because I remember when she was on the Indies trying so hard, and like boom, now she's gotten signed. She's making a big splash. Aubrey Edwards, another one that's making a big splash. Women refereeing the men's matches too. Like that right there shows equality for me. Like, they're not just women referees; they're referees. They're part of the business, and you're setting you're setting the standard yourself by being, like you said, Iron Woman in the whole day of the Taco Festival. I know Jacksonville during that time of year was friggin' hot, and it was an outdoor show. So you're doing all that stuff, Recently, I know that Mission Pro has been doing some like pay-per-view type things, and the crowds are getting bigger, and you're one of the focal points of that. And as a wrestler, I always tell people, there's three in a singles match. There's three of us that's working this match. There's me, there's my opponent, and there's the ref. And believe it or not, ladies and gentlemen, the ref has more to do in that match than neither one of the guys working the match. Explain that to the fans who are listening to this, so they kind of understand what's the significance of a referees in that match.
That's the biggest change for me. From stepping out of the ring as an in-ring competitor and then stepping back into it with my zebra stripes, you don't realize is how many nuances, rules, little things you have to kind of be aware of. That's where I feel lucky and blessed that I have the wrestling background that I do, because it kind of gives me a sharper eye to it, because I know what I would want as a referee. I also, with that, it makes you just look at it differently. I didn't realize that there's so many rules to it until I became one. And like you said, you have to be the third person in the match. Yeah. It's about the storytelling of the match. I'm big on psychology. I love matches when they tell an amazing story. I love that. So for me, if I can help tell that story between the two wrestlers in the ring, it's a good night for me in that
Mm-hmm.
match.
Yeah, I
And
mean,
it's funny that you mentioned Aja, because Aja and I had our tryouts together,
really?
and I was there the day Aja got signed.
Oh my God.
we were
See,
we were at the performance center, and we were doing our tryout, and yeah, when she got the news of that, it was just so nice, and I'm just so happy for her, so proud for her. She's such a genuine
she's,
soul and human
yes,
being. But
she's
the
such a
women,
nice person.
oh my gosh, and she's never changed. She's very much
Mm-mm.
so still the same younger woman that I met, on the independent circuit, and we were both like, okay, here we are. Hi, nice to meet you.
Kind of what we're gonna, yeah. Yeah,
And then
yeah.
Aubrey, she's a very, I love watching her in the ring, because I know she has a past of ballet, and you can
Mhm.
just see that in the way that she moves. It is almost like a dance when you watch her. It's graceful, and she tells the story, and I got to give it up to Rev Jessica too,
Oh
because she
yeah,
gets in
yeah.
there with the guys. Like here I am. I am a referee. I am not a female referee. I am a referee,
I'm the
and
girl
that's
in this
and
ring.
that's
You're gonna listen to me, like, yeah.
yeah, and yeah, and that's what I try to bring into my matches, whether it's female matches, male matches. I want you to know that I'm the authority. And that's why I love when I work certain companies, that it's not only, hey, just give her the women's matches to referee. No, I want them all. Like,
Yeah, why not? I mean,
you
so
know,
that's what I'm saying. It's like it's not just you're a woman in this industry. No, you're a worker in this industry. You're a professional in this industry. If you worked at friggin' if you worked at Nike, they wouldn't say, "Oh, she's a female working at Nike." No, you're an employee of Nike. If
yeah.
you worked at Samsung, you're not a female working at Samsung. No, you're an employee of Samsung. So why not be a a professional in the industry that you chose, which is professional wrestling?
Mm-hmm.
Referees are so integral in any type of match. Ladies and gentlemen, I've had the craziest freaking matches in my life. And I'll tell you, I get hit a lot. I forget a lot of shit. And those referees are always whispering in my ear, okay, do this now, go to your next spot, or whatever, whatnot. These referees
That's
keep
my
these matches
favorite part
going.
of reffing. You just nailed it. My favorite part of reffing is the communication part.
Hmm.
Is giving time cues. It's talking to them. It's I try to sometimes, if the crowd is really loving what they're doing, if I'm going to check on somebody or something, I'm be like, yo, that you got them. They're
Hmm.
behind you.
Yeah.
Good job. You did this, especially with newer girls. If they're doing like super great in the match, or they need me to communicate something from one person to another, I love that. I'm a talker in real life and on my daily life. Why not? And
It works.
to help somebody who's greener and tell them in the middle of the match, if they're like nervous, like calm down, you're doing good, and or be their hype person. Yo, you're killing it right now. They're so into this match, killing it.
And
you
you have to
know,
understand, ladies and gentlemen, I've been in matches where I'm like, oh, this match is shit. And the ref's like, bro, you got this. Look at this, man. Just dude, go to your next spot. You're gonna get the biggest pop. And then I do it and I get the pop, and I'm like, oh shit, he was right. You know,
yeah, because we have more time. Essentially, is what I feel,
you see
to
more than
kind
we do.
of, huh?
You guys see way more than we do.
Yeah, because for me, I'm such a scatterbrain as it is. So I guess being a referee works that way, because my brain is all over the place.
Mhm.
So in matches, I can kind of focus on different things. And there was a match this past Saturday that two girls wrestled, and they're newer girls, and the crowd absolutely went bonkers for them. And I went in the middle of the thing. I was checking on one of them, and I said, "You guys got them. Good. Be very proud of yourself."
Sometimes referees are the biggest cheerleaders, ladies and gentlemen, and that's the truth. Sometimes we need that. Um, I mean, that's pretty much what it is. You've been like I said, doing this 13 years. What do you see is the biggest change in the industry since you started, in
Honestly,
your opinion?
huh?
In your opinion.
The honestly, the biggest change is now having all of these different places to work for.
Hmm, okay.
Because it's like baseball. If you can't get with one team, WWE, now there's different teams. If you can't play for the Yankees, there's the Mets. There's the Phillies. There's this team. There's that team.
Like a true New Yorker over there. Start with the Yankees. Look at you.
Nope. And it's funny. I'm a Mets fan.
Oh, there you go. There you go.
That's why I was like, okay, we can get rid of them first. You can go
he's
play
like,
for another team.
these damn Yankees. I don't like those stripes.
But it's basically like that now, that you have all these different opportunities, where in past years and even in the past, if you didn't work for the major company, you were just working indies. Now, and the resurgence of the indies post pandemic, that a lot of new places are coming in. And like we were talking about earlier, there's a lot more opportunities now for us females to go out there and kick some major tail and be noticed as superstars, not just women.
Yeah,
Not
exactly.
just, she's a good female wrestler. No, she's a really good wrestler. She's a really good entertainer.
But see,
But
I love your energy. I love like you're so excited about this, because I get that way too. When like I'm doing a Monday Night Raw post show, or we're doing an AEW post show, and I'm like, why? I mean, like you can see the differences. With Raw, you get comedy skits, you get the 24/7 stuff, you get girls making out with other girls. It's like, dude, we all now John Laurinaitis is back running the WWE Women's Division, because when he was gone, women were allowed to actually be fucking wrestlers. Some of the best matches. Look, this last WrestleMania, two matches set the tone for the 2 nights of that pay-per-view. Cody Rhodes and Seth Rollins, and then the women's match between Bianca Belair and Becky Lynch. The best matches of the night. Both nights.
100%.
1000%.
Those are the two that I tuned in for.
And it's like you got Becky Lynch and Bianca Belair killing it out there. They killed it. Better than some of the guys on the show. So what do you get the next week? You get the stupid 24/7 stuff. You get girls cutting each other's hair and attacking each other in the makeup booth. It's like, dude, like you get NXT 2.0. Nikita Lyons. She's a friend of the channel. I love Faith. Me and Faith have been friends for a while. I love her to death. But the way they're sexualizing her on NXT, and the way they're doing it on social media, they're just making her like, well, it's Tuesday, it's Thirsty Tuesday. Nikita Lyons is going to be doing the splits tonight. Talk about her fucking wrestling ability. Like, she can work.
And she's such a multifaceted entertainer. The girl can sing, she can rap, she's a dancer, she's an actress, she can do all of these things.
What people don't know is that before she left and went to the WWE trial in Vegas, she was teaching boxing at Floyd Mayweather's gym. Like, the girl gets up at 4 a.m. and she is such the most positive, most inspiring young woman I've ever in my 30 years in this business I've ever met. Like, I'm like, dude, I'm in awe of her. Like, she's that great a person.
But I think she was a breath of fresh air that they needed.
Yeah, but honestly, you take her, and instead of letting her be her, you sexualize her and you make her this sex pot, and you dress her half. Like she doesn't like the way she's being sexualized. She's doing the job, but and you do this, and it's like you're making it more about how cute she is and how thick she is and how nice her ass looks. What about the fact that she can out wrestle half the girls on the roster? What about the fact
and maybe some of the guys? Let's just be honest.
Exactly. What about the fact that she is a seriously pure athlete who takes so much pride in doing what she does? The girl's like she's a kickboxer. She's a martial artist. The girl, she's a singer. We debuted her Baby You video on this podcast. So, I mean, like, she's so, like you said, she's multifaceted at everything. She's great at everything she does. But you focus on one thing, and you see, Natalia is another great wrestler. You don't put her in a position where she needs to be, but you're doing the sexual, like Mandy Rose and Toxic Attraction. It's all about sex. Those girls can work. Let them fucking wrestle.
AEW, and that's where some of the disconnect came in for me, because I'm like you said, like one of the guys. You know what I mean? I can turn it up and be the sexualized girl, but do I want to? No. And do I do that with my social media? No. Do I post things sometimes, but I use it as body positivity.
Mm-hmm.
We're in a generation now where we have all of these little girls that look up to the women of professional wrestling. And that to me is why I post the way that I do, act the way that I do, dress how I do, because I want to show the women of the next generation that you can live out your dreams and be authentically you. And authentically you does not have to be over sexualized, does not have to be a fake social media presence. You can be yourself and
Exactly.
rock who you are. And that's I get so excited about that because that's my biggest platform in life is to be yourself. If you're spunky and you're crazy and you got, you're a little off, be you.
Be
Because there's
authentically
only
you.
one you in the world.
I tell my 13-year-old daughter that all the time. Just be authentically you. Don't don't try to fit into anybody's box. Be your own box. Do your thing. Because guess what? At the end of the day, you have to live with you.
Mm-hmm.
You know, um, that's why I get so angry and so upset about this whole thing. Like a report came out that they were having what is it? How's a nice way to put it? Wardrobe training in the WWE. They had these meetings to where they were like, "You need to dress more like Mandy Rose. You need to show more TNA. Oh, you can
I
wrestle.
heard that
So what?
interview too.
Guys only want to see you in a thong." Are we going back to the bra and panties matches? Are we gonna start having fucking pudding matches now at WrestleMania again? Like, are we gonna have that? Like, I don't want my kid or any other person's daughter or son for that matter to grow up thinking like, yeah, that's all it is. Those
I'll
women are
put it to you
wrestlers.
this way. When a lot of people, and even when I do extra work, I don't wear the skimpy little dresses to do extra work. When I do it, I rock a pantsuit and high heeled combat boots because at the end of the day, I want my personality shown through. I want
Hmm.
my brand to be seen. And my brand is me. It's not the fitness girl on Instagram. It's not the model type. And you can only be yourself. And in this social media generation, it's not helping things sometimes with that. And I saw the same interview you did. I love Athena, by the
Yeah, I love
way.
I love Athena. I talk to Matt all the time about her. So
um, I heard that podcast and I was like,
yeah,
thank you. Because the whole part of this, and that's what I mean about a sisterhood as well, is about being yourself, rocking who you are as a person. If we are cookie cutter, then it gets boring. Honestly, that's another to segue it back to Nikita and women like Athena. They showed different body types, different attitudes, different skin tones. If you want to know why, like I brand myself the Latina referee, it's because it's different and it's owning my own space and it's owning
true
who
statement.
I am. And why not? If for Athena, rock who you are. I think she's absolutely gorgeous. I think she's absolutely great as a human being.
I'll tell you, and she's an amazing worker. The first time I saw her
Oh my
wrestle in
gosh.
Texas, and she hit that eclipse, I was like, oh shit, stealing that.
There's a reason she's just so good. She's just so good. We did a training session before one of the Mission Pro shows, and I've known her for such a long time, but seeing her in the ring, like training and working with even one of the guys of that was there, I was just like in awe of her because she's just so good. And I feel like that was so underutilized.
Oh my god, yes.
And I feel like they do. And then I feel like if you gave people the chance to be authentically them, you never know what could catch on and what people may fall in love with. Because I feel like that's why so many people have gotten behind me and are show me as much love is because I've been me and it's been relatable to who they are. And I know that's not a thing in pro wrestling. We're supposed to be larger than life and this and that and that. But in this generation with social media and people sharing their lives anyway,
Honestly, I'll say this. I'll say this. Being an individual, like you mentioned being cookie cutter. If you're being cookie cutter, it's no one gives a shit about that. Like it's like when the WWE everyone I was so excited about this, by the way. This totally made my day. You have Dana Brooke. You had um, Mandy Rose. You had what's that girl? She's the ravishing Russian chick.
Lana.
Lana. You had Lana. You had Kelly Kelly. You had all these blonde, blue-eyed women in the WWE, and then out of nowhere, the blondest, blue-eyed goddess of all of them dyes her hair black. And it's like a huge story. Oh my God, Mandy Rose has black hair. What about the fact that she can fucking work? You guys are all worried about her hair.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
Oh,
Oh,
she went brunette. How
never
about
gonna
they
be
have
the
her in
same
a?
again. And you're like, dude, just because she changed her hair color?
How about she's in a different brand? And that was very smart on her to rebrand herself.
Yeah, it's. I'm excited that wrestling that most women's like now AEW is doing the Owen Hart tournament, and they have like Britt Baker, and they have the Joker coming in. No one knows who the Joker is going to be. You got Ruby Soho, who legitly is authentically herself. You
In
know,
and out of the ring. That
it
she's another one that I've had the honor of hanging out, of spending some time with when it was on the Indies, and she's very much so organically herself.
exactly, and
And
that's what brings people in. You
mm-hmm,
know, people love when you were yourself because you're more relatable. Like you are so relatable to a lot of people. Like
and
you may not notice it, you may not see it, but that's why you have such a great following because people can be like, "Hey, you know what? I can be just like her," and that's cool because
and
that's what you want.
and then honestly, sometimes I feel like I'm almost honest to a fault about like my life and things that I've done and this and that. And I'm going to be honest with you. And if you don't like it, then you don't like it. But I'm not,
Hmm.
one of the things I'm never going to be is anything else but myself,
Exactly.
because there's only one of me. I can't be anything else. And I recently had someone tell me that I'm an inspiration to the Latin women because we're not very out there like that, being pushed in that sense, and that I was a role model because I was owning the fact that I was a Latina referee and that I was owning the space I'm in. And that's what the biggest thing for me and what fuels my heart and my soul is that. It's showing the world that you don't have to be 5'10", 120 pounds, blonde hair, blue eyes to be of value in this industry.
I love it. I completely love it. 1000%. That's why I had to have you on the show because I like to interview people, and I like to bring people on that have something substantial to contribute to the world of professional wrestling. Not just, oh yeah, this guy's a WWE superstar, big deal. What are you doing to contribute to this whole industry? You're doing something right now that is contributing to not just the industry, but just your Latina heritage. And that, think about that for a second. There's
It's
a
and
young
even
Latina
more
girl.
so. Uh-huh.
There's a young Latina girl sitting at home watching a Mission Pro Wrestling show, saying, "Wow, I want to be like that. I want to be just like her." You know what I'm saying? Like that right there, that makes me feel good because like my daughter, um, she's black and white. She's a mixed child, and she sees a lot of actresses now on television, mixed actresses on TV excelling. So she's like, "Wow, I can do that." And I always tell my daughter, "You can do anything you put your mind to. You can be the president of
Mm-hmm.
the United States. You can be the first, interracial woman on the moon if you want to, or you can just be you.
Yeah.
Whatever makes you happy." And to be an inspiration to somebody like you are, like that's totally cool. Like kudos to you.
I took what I once was bullied for and made it my own and took it back into a space for myself, because when I was in junior high school, I was not many people know the story. When I was in junior high school, I was bullied very much, to the point where I thought of ending my life, because I was bullied on a daily basis on, you're not tan enough and we don't believe you that you're Hispanic, because I went to a predominantly Hispanic school at the time, and they didn't believe me that my mother was Puerto Rican and I wasn't pale, I wasn't tan enough. So now as an adult, and especially within this referee position, I'm taking that power back. This is for me, and I don't have to be anything than other than myself, and I can rock my heritage for who I am.
Exactly.
I can be this gorgeous, lovely pale shade and still be, and own my Latina heritage. And it wasn't until those girls, I mean, we almost got into a fist fight over it because they tried to jump me outside of school. Then they saw my mom and saw her lovely shade of caramel that she was, and they were like, "Oh,
She was
she
right.
wasn't lying." No, just because I'm lighter than you guys doesn't mean that, and that's why I hold so tight to my Latin heritage and putting that, excuse me, to the forefront is because, like I said, I'm taking something that I was once bullied for and taking back that power and owning it for the rest of the Latin women to hold on to and say, hey, you know, we can own the space that we're in no matter what range of shades we are.
I love that.
I'm
I
rocking
love
that
that.
for me.
I totally love that. And you know what? That's what I'm saying. Like being an inspiration to anyone at any point in your wrestling career, any point in your just in your life in general. Like I always tell my kids, I don't know the meaning of life, but I do know my purpose is to be a better parent to you than my parents were to me. And my parents were great to me, so I got big shoes to fill. So I got to make sure that their life. I work so hard every day, so their life will be just that much easier when then they're older, and I show them a work ethic. That way, when they're older, they will work as hard as I work to provide for their family as well. And
I do the same
that's all
with
we can do.
I do the same with my mom. For some of you that don't know, who are watching this when we air it, January 11th, I actually lost my mom.
Oh man,
And
I know
I
that feeling.
decided that even bigger of a legacy that I was going to carry on was the amount of love that we received during that time period and the amount of people that she touched their lives. And my mom was not in entertainment. She was just a woman living her life, and even down to people who take out the garbage or janitors or just everybody that we met, we spoke to, this, that, the other. When this when everything happened, they were like, she left such an impact, the world is going to miss her smile, her spirit. And me and my two younger sisters, we said that's what we're going to carry on. And I said that to somebody at work, and they're like, Elaine, you already do. Like, you already, even on your worst days, you're still trying to cheer other people up. Then
Mm,
I carry that legacy now with me even more so, because she once said to us, you can either shatter or you can survive. So I'm going to survive. And my goal in life is to make the world a better place than when I found it, and to leave here making an impact, even if it's something small, just to make an impact on somebody's life that it was made better.
that right there is
And
such an amazing thing to do. Like that's a great way to honor your mom. That's a great way, especially with Mother's Day just passing the other day. Like I gotta tell you, my mom died exactly 20 days after my birthday, like 2 years ago, of COVID, and it's been rough. It's really rough, And I decided that my mom's the reason why I got into my mom and my grandmother were the reasons why I got into wrestling. My mom used
my
to like
dad for me.
she would like take the this is back in the day when we had like WrestleMania 2, WrestleMania 3. She would like get the pay-per-view and she would bring all the kids in the neighborhood and they'd order pizza and it'd be like a friggin' WrestleMania party before there were WrestleMania parties. My mom would like she didn't care who it was. She would have like we'd have like neighborhood barbecues. We'd play volleyball with just random ass kids. My mom would be like, hey, you come here, you want to play some volleyball? And my mom did that. And I guess like for me, I'm someone that wants to uplift someone else, put someone else over, so to speak. And I'm always putting people over. I started this podcast as a way to do that, as a way to uplift people and put people over and show that not everyone is the same. Everyone has a story, and I feel like my job when I do any of these interviews isn't just to talk about wrestling, is to talk about the person behind the character, the person behind the gimmick. Because, ladies and gentlemen, we play a character on TV, but that's not who we are. That's a character we play on TV. There's a lot of things that there are a lot of inner things that we do and we are like you being a role model like that people don't understand. And that's why this show is so prevalent for me to make sure that I can reach out, I can reach the masses. And thank God for BuyASlam.net. Over 50,000 subscribers that watch these shows, and Amazon Prime and, iHeartRadio that air these shows. So people listen. Like, we have people that listen in Bangladesh. I didn't know people had TV in Bangladesh. Like, I don't even know what the fuck Bangladesh is, but people are watching there. And it's an inspiration to know that I'm reaching these people with stories like yours. So it's an honor and a privilege to have you on the show.
Thank you.
Thank you for sharing everything about your mom and your mission in life. Showing that light that your mom shined. You and your sisters are still blindingly shining that light, and that's fucking awesome.
Is it easy every day? No.
No.
But is it worth it in the end? Heck yeah. I feel like that should be like the wrestler motto. Like, is it gonna be easy? Nope. But is it gonna be worth
Mm-mm.
it? Yes.
At the end of the day, I'm glad that I made one person smile. That I touched one person, or I had a guy, and it's so crazy for me. It's so weird for me because I always feel like I'm just a dude doing a job, and
Mm-hmm.
something I like. I love entertaining people. I love making people smile. That's my thing. And a lady contacted me and asked me to send pictures to a kid that was dying in the hospital of cancer.
Wow.
And I was like, me? Like, you want pick me? What? Me? Who the fuck am I? You know? And apparently, I was this kid's favorite wrestler. So I flew from Portland, Oregon, to San Diego, California, and
Oh
surprised the
wow.
kid. And I
Oh,
didn't like send him a T-shirt or pictures. I like legit went there, and we took pictures, and I gave him. I've won numerous championship belts, and I've made history with all of these belts. I hold so many records on these belts. I took one of these championship belts that I did, and I gave it to him. And
I love that.
the mom sent me a picture, and she invited me to the funeral, and I couldn't
Aw,
I couldn't go because it was an emotional thing for me. But they buried him with the championship belt.
it meant that much to him.
Yeah, and it totally freaks me out because I feel like I'm just I'm just a dude, doing something on whether it be on TV, YouTube, whatever. I'm just a guy. I'm no
Yeah.
one special, and that right there shows that the littlest thing that we do may seem little to us, but it can be like the world to someone else. So you doing what you do, some kid is sitting at home right now and they're like, dude, I so want to be her.
And
That's
that's the drive. And honestly, that's the driving force to me because I want to show people that. And I posted it. I posted it this way when I did my tryout. I don't know if you've ever seen the movie Rudy.
mm-hmm.
Okay. So
Several
that
times.
was basically what I wrote under the caption of my tryout photos of my shirt and my armband. I said, I'm a 5 foot tall nothing, non-athletic girl, and I'm very proud of what I did. And I'm getting teary eyed. It's because of how much I genuinely love what I do and the effect that it has on other people. The Lash Mission Pro Show, not to the extent of your story, but I came out for the first match that I was refereeing of the night, and there was a little girl in the crowd that held up a sign that said, "We heart Ref Layne," and I ref the match. I get through the curtain and I lost it. I was like, okay, that's a real person, not a person on social media, but that's a real little girl holding up
Mm-hmm.
that. And I lost it because that's what it is for me. I This is gonna sound so bad. I don't care about the fame, the fortune. Is that stuff nice? Yes. Does it fade? Yes. But what matters is the impact, like we've said, is the impact that you leave in other people's lives. And
It's a
that's what
legacy.
it does to me. And that's why I try to help other people, not just in the pro wrestling aspect of things, but I live with hypothyroidism and now trying to help people with other people who are going through grief like I am. Because it wasn't just my mom in January. A year and a half before that, I lost my dad too. So
Oh man.
within the course of 2 years, it's been them both. And I'm just, hey, let me blog this progress of how I'm just living my daily life. Is every day perfect? No, there's days that I don't want to get out of bed, but it's the driving force of I have a family I got to take care of, and like you said, the little girl sitting there watching my journey. I can't give up because you're not giving up. I got to show
Exactly.
you that I'm not going to give up even on my worst days.
Well, I'll tell you right now, you legit just became my hero. Like all bullshit aside, ladies and gentlemen, like the people who watch this podcast know my struggle. They know my struggle. It's a daily struggle. It sucks. Like after we finish this podcast, I'm going to a counseling session. It's a daily struggle.
Yeah,
And
and you just have to, and I say to people all the time, it's not a linear process. It's
mhm,
not a straight line. Life is not a straight line. Grief is not a straight
mhm.
line. You have to roll with it. And I roll with my good days as well as I ride out my bad days, and that's what we're going to have. And the getting help is not something that should be, that's another platform. Mental health awareness,
Mental health
that's a
awareness
big one
month.
for me. If you feel like you need to get help, go get help. Why suffer?
Well, as a matter of fact, I always say this right here. And I'm gonna post it here. Ladies and gentlemen, and if you need help, you can call the National Suicide Prevention Lifeline. It's simple. You dial 1-800-273-8255, or you can text GO to 741-741. You can reach a trained crisis counselor through the crisis text line. It's a global nonprofit organization. It's free 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. And I tell you, ladies and gentlemen, this works. You can text anonymously. You don't have to say your name. You don't have to say who you are. You can just, hey, I need to talk to someone, and they're there to listen. Trust me, you're not alone. You can see professional wrestlers, referees, people in the industry that are on this pedestal that you guys put us on. We still need help too. It's okay, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah, and it's okay to talk about it.
Yeah,
That's why I'm so very like open about what's gone on in my life over the last 2 years. Because why am I going to hide that? It's a part of my growing process, and every day I turn grief into growth and try to move on past it and try to use it as, you know, even the fuel to my fire more to be the best ref that I can be, or, you know, put my story out there. Because if my story helps somebody else, day made.
there
Check.
it is. There it is. And with this being said, ladies and gentlemen, I want to thank you so much. Like you have no idea. Like this, I've done a
Thank
lot of
you.
interviews, but this right here is the one that's like really, like it's got me a little teary eyed a little bit, and I don't want to do it on the podcast right now. I don't want to do it here, so I'll wait till we get off. But tell the fans where they can find you on your socials so they can hear more
I
about
am
your
most
story.
active on Instagram and Twitter at Latina Ref Layne, Layne. And that's where I'm at as far as social medias.
Ladies and gentlemen, this has been the one, the only, the magnificent Latina Ref Layne. Just boy your franchise. This is the boy your franchise. You can like, click, and subscribe, and we totally appreciate you taking your time to come sit with us and talk about this. Thank you for sharing your story.
Thank you for having me. It was nice having a conversation with you.
Hey, and like I tell everyone that matters, there's always a seat at the table when you want to come through. And with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for joining us here on the Roundtable Pro Wrestling Podcast. We will see you later.